We now head inside the Peace Center. John Dickerson will be principal moderator for tomorrow night's Republican debate. Wall Street Journal columnist Kimberley Strassel will be one of the panelists. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning.
Let me begin with the Republicans and talk about the fights within the GOP taking place now in South Carolina. Cruz versus Trump.
Well, that's right. So you've got Cruz versus Trump. Then you've got the battle to be the alternative to Cruz and Trump. So that's at least two fights. And then those who are fighting to be the alternative hope to take on Trump or Cruz. So it's basically three fights, and it's ranging all over the place on issues from veterans to values. There's some talk of who has better Christian values. And then, of course, there's the competency question. Who has the experience? Who's been tested? Who can handle the presidency once they get there?
We keep hearing that George Bush is getting ready to hit the road for his brother. Is that an asset or a liability for him, do you think, in South Carolina?
Well, it's South Carolina was a place George W. Bush came back in 2000 against John McCain. There's a lot of history here. There's a bit of an organization here. Also, the veterans here. There's a connection between him as a wartime leader and also just the good feeling about the Bush family. For the kind of voters that Jeb Bush is trying to turn out, it's a good thing. He was even bragging that he's a member of the establishment because of his brother and his father. Not something any candidate is doing this season.
What impact has the previous debate and the New Hampshire results had on the numbers in South Carolina?
Right now, Trump looks like he's still way up and way ahead. It's still a little early for that impact to be fully known. But at least in one survey I looked at this morning, and you know how these things are quite volatile, he's still way up.
Kim, what are you looking for?
Well, I think down here, this is going to be a very different race than it has been in Iowa or New Hampshire, because South Carolina is just a little bit more of a varied state. So there's a lot of talk down here because it's a manufacturing state about jobs and the economy to a degree you probably don't have in Iowa or New Hampshire. I think, as John referenced, there is a big veteran and active duty military presence here. So foreign policy is going to play a big role, a bigger role than it has in the past. But also those values voters in the evangelical community. We are back in a place after New Hampshire where that is, again, a very big focus, and you hear the candidates going up. But this debate will be slightly different than what we've had up until now.
These are post-debate questions, post-debate from New Hampshire, post-results from New Hampshire. What about Marco Rubio? Has he been slowed down significantly?
I think he's certainly been slowed down, and he knows it. He admitted it. He's going to have to come down and look as though he's nimble on his feet, be able to answer questions and not sound formulaic. He has come out much more aggressively down here. He's hitting at his competitors a lot harder, in particular Trump. I think that's another theme you're seeing down here is all of these guys, they had kind of held back their fire on Trump. They'd gone after each other a lot, but now you see them all sort of training their guns on the top guy, and he's got a lot of incoming.
Thanks, John Dickerson and Kim Strassel. John, Kim, and Chief White House Correspondent Major Garrett will question the candidates at tomorrow night's CBS News Republican presidential debate. That begins at 6 Pacific time. Then Sunday on Face the Nation, John interviews Donald Trump and Senator Marco Rubio. That's all this weekend right here on CBS.